I am God. I am PeePee See. This will be an interesting video. So when I was a young boy, how young? I can't remember. Maybe I was 9 or 10. Maybe I was younger. I'm not sure. But there was the Spice Girls. They had, when their single came out, it was called Spice Up Your Life. And they had a deal with Pepsi, who make the drink Pepsi. And I've already talked about this before in previous videos, one in particular. So they had a promotion with the Pepsi cans, which was, they had pink ring pools, and if you collect 20 of those pink ring pools and send them off, you get the single Spice Up Your Life. So, yeah, you see, it's very clever witchcraft is what it is. Okay, the number 20 in the tarot deck, the 20th card, the card that is numbered 20, which is XX in Roman numerals, is the Judgment card. Okay, so combine the idea of the Judgment card with pink ring pools, spice up your life, single. What is the thing? I've been single for a long time. And spice is another way of saying spies. Spies up your life, single. So it's witchcraft. It's and obviously there's a lot more to this as well, right? So Pepsi. What is Pepsi? Okay, so pep. Let's say pep. Okay, P-E-P. P-E-P. P-P. P-E-P. P-P. P-P means urine, or genitalia. And I mean, I've always heard it as male genitalia. So it's PeePee is my penis. I mean, it's a way of saying penis. Yeah. So Pepsi, what it really means is penis see. And obviously it's my penis. I have eyeballs. I can see it with my 2 eyes. PeePee See. Yeah, I see it. It's my penis. Obviously, as a child, other people, and obviously as an adult as well, other people have seen my penis. Family members, family members. And as I've been older, that would include, girlfriends I've had, or anyone who's seen my penis. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many people have seen my penis. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. So it's interesting because Pepsi. Obviously C is to do with vision. Okay, and also there's a thing called pep talk. Okay. A pep talk is usually when if someone is needing some sort of motivation. For instance, like if there's like a sports team, and the coach comes in and he gives them a pep talk to make them feel motivated to win their game, as an example. That's a pep talk. So obviously this is the thing. This is all complex magic. Obviously, I am in a physical body, okay? My penis, it doesn't really have an eye, even though people would call it a one-eyed monster. You know, that's a nickname for the penis. And it doesn't talk either, although obviously people have seen my penis and people have talked about my penis. People talk about my penis, you know, penis, PeePee talk, yeah, PeePee See, PeePee talk. And this gets even more complicated because in Egyptian mythology, there is Apep. That's the Egyptian name. The Greek name is Apophis. Apep. What does it say here? Right. So it says Apep, also known as Aphoth or Apophis, is the ancient Egyptian deity who embodied darkness and disorder, and was thus the opponent of light and Ma'at. Ra was the bringer of light and hence the biggest opposer of Apep. So, you know, the thing about, the Egyptians, I mean, this is the thing. You know, the world sees light as darkness and it sees darkness as light. So Apep, he's like he's a snake. That's what he is. He's like, yeah, his symbol is a snake. So he's like the god of destruction. So he's like the Egyptian god of destruction. You know, in Egyptian mythology, there's like this, their story is that, there's the sky boat, which is like Ra's in it, and, there's like a bunch of deities that are in the sky boat, and they go through the sky during the daytime when the sun rises, and when the sun comes down, the sky boat, it goes through the underworld. And what happens is at nighttime, Apep, Apophis, fights the skyboat. There was Ra, and Apep fights the skyboat, and it's a daily cycle. Basically, that's just it's a stupid Egyptian story, whatever, right? Well, obviously, because Apep, this is the thing. He says it's a snake in the darkness. Well, yeah, I mean, this is the thing, the snakes in the dark. Well, a snake is another way of saying penis. And obviously, my penis, I don't usually just wander around with it exposed. Usually it's in the dark, it's under my clothes. So, yeah, it's in darkness. You know what I'm saying? It's not black, it's white, because my skin is white, right? So it's light colored, but it's covered, yeah, with clothes, underwear, trousers, or a dressing gown or whatever, right? But this is the thing, because the story of the Garden of Eden, okay, so it talks about the serpent in the Garden of Eden, and in Hebrew, the word that is used to describe the serpent is Nakash. And Nakash is translated the Shining One. So yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, in Egyptian mythology, you've got the snake god of destruction that's in darkness. And in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, the story tells about the serpent that is called Nakash and the Shining One. Yeah, it gets very confusing. Obviously, the word shy is in shine or shining. Yeah. And that's the other thing, right? Because you know there's that film called The Shining, and you know they did a sequel film called Doctor Sleep. And the thing is that my aunt, who's the sister of my dead mom, my aunt Christine, or Auntie Christ, or whatever, you know, Auntie Christine, Dr. Christine Neal, she's married to a man called Donald Neal. Donald used to be Abraham. Now, if you don't know anything about Gnosticism, then I'll just quickly explain this. But there is this figure. It's called Abraxas, and that is spelled Abraxas. And if you know, I just literally did a quick search on the search engine DuckDuckGo, to have a look, you know, at the drawings of Abraxas. Right, I've got a drawing of Abraxas here, and he seems to have human arms, but his head is a rooster's head, you know, a cock's head, you know, like a cockerel, a rooster, you know, a bird, a chicken's head, a cock's head, a rooster, yeah. And for his legs, he's got 2 legs, and they're both serpents. They're both snakes. He has snake legs. Yeah, it's strange though, isn't it? And you know, I know this. He's you know, he is yeah. So if I read it here, Wikipedia says about him, Abraxas is a term for the Great Archon in Gnostic Christianity. The word is found in Gnostic texts such as the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit and the Apocalypse of Adam, and also appears in the Greek magical papyri. It was engraved on certain antique gemstones called on that account Abraxas stones, which were used as amulets or charms. As the initial spelling on stones was Abrasax, the spelling of Abraxas seen today probably originates in the confusion made between the Greek letters sigma and Z or XI in the Latin transliteration. Anyway, is XI, is that key? Yeah, okay, whatever it is. The point I'm trying to make is, well, yeah. That's interesting. So Donald, who used to be Abraham, his son, he's got 2 sons. One of his sons is called Andrew, and he was Adam from the Garden of Eden story. And he was also King David. So Andrew, he married a woman called Eva. Now, if you know, in Hinduism, they have what they call the god of destruction. He is called Shiva, spelled Shiva. IVA is how Eva, so Andrew's wife Eva, that's how her name is spelled, IVA. In Roman numerals, IV means 4. And in the tarot deck, IV is the number 4, and it is connected with the card, the Emperor. It's a very important number. And obviously, Emperor means authority. Yeah, I'm God. That's me. And obviously, you know what shh means, yeah? Shh means to shut. You know, if someone goes shh, it means be quiet. You know, quiet. You know, this is the thing. You know, this is the thing. What, you know, Rihanna. You know, Robin Rihanna Fenty. Yeah, she likes to do this. Shh. Yeah, she even has a tattoo on her finger which says shh. SHHH. Yeah, she's got that on her finger. You know what? It's, you know, that is, it's a sign of silence, or to be silent. It's saying that she is keeping a secret and she's telling other people to keep secrets. Yeah. So, so what, you know, how do I, obviously there's all these, I've explained all these facts. How do I bring them together? You know, what do I get from all of this? Well, I'm God. I know that. Yeah, I mean, the thing is about Abraxas is that, well, look, Abraxas, he has snake legs and his head is a rooster, is a cock. It's like, well, his head is, you know, it's, you know, a chicken, a rooster, a male chicken. Yeah, he's called a cock. So he's a cockhead. Yeah. And his name is very similar to Abraham. Yeah. You know what ham means? Ham means pork. And pork means fuck. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Gnosticism. How do you say that? How do you spell that? That's spelled G-N-O-S. The G is silent, right? So it's Gnosticism. You could also, you know, instead of saying Gnosticism, you could say no stickism. No stickism. So what does that mean, right? Because no, you know something, right? Gnosis is all about, is supposed to mean knowing. But obviously, no is the opposite of yes. And obviously in Spanish, how do you say yes? You say sí. Sí, señor. Yeah? See how complicated this gets? Anyways. And also, you know, obviously, you know, the one-eyed monster thing, you know, that's what people call, that's, you know, a name that people give the penis. Well, you know, another name that people give to the penis, or the tip of the penis, which is, you know, that's where they find the one eye, right? It's the urethra, which is where the urine comes up. You know, the bell end, right? The tip, the bell end, right? Well, you know, if you say bell eye, well, how do you spell believe? You know? Believe, you know, like, do you believe in God? You know, bell, I, Eve, right? Bell, I, Eve, believe, or believe, right? I don't know if you know, in the Bible, there's a word, it's Belial, which is spelled B-E-L, I mean, if I look at the word here, right? So there's a word, belie, okay, B-E-L-I-E, and it says here, to give a false representation to, misrepresent, to show, to be false, contradict, to show, to be false, to convict of, or charge with falsehood. And so, yeah, and obviously there's the word Belial, which is B-E-L-I-A-L. And, you know, there are lots of, you know, YouTube's got videos. You know, here's a video title. It says, Belial, the worst fallen angel. Angels and demons explained. So it says here on Wikipedia, it says Belial is a term occurring in the Hebrew Bible Old Testament, which later became personified as the devil in Christian texts of the New Testament. Alternate spellings include Baaliel, Belial, Beliar, Belial, Bilal, and Belial. Early usage of Belial referred to wickedness or worthlessness, occurring several times in the Old Testament. Later in the Dead Sea Scrolls, circa 300 BCE, Belial was personified as a demon. In the secret book of John, an early Gnostic text, the ruler of the underworld is referred to as Belias. So, yeah. Wow, it gets quite complicated. Label, label, yeah, label. Yeah, it's an interesting word as well, right? Anyways, so how do I connect this? What is the connection? What is the connection? Well, these are all magic spells, and people are trying to use these all in combination to fight me and attack me and lie about me and all this kind of stuff. Okay? I mean, this is the thing, okay? My aunt, Christine, when I was a child, she would have seen my penis. Yeah? In fact, I think she might have even seen my penis when I was at my cousin's wedding. I was very, very drunk. Yeah, I was extremely. That was probably the most drunk I've. It's probably one of the. Yeah, I was extremely drunk. Anyways, I was sort of just walking around with it, hanging out. And she was like, "Ooh, put that away." Yeah. I was terrorizing the wedding guests. Anyways, yeah. Well, I was harassing people. Yeah. I was in a very bad mood. Anyways, but that's the thing, right? Because, another woman and people have seen my peepee, my penis. But they have also seen other penises as well. It's not only my penis, right? So, and the thing is that my aunt, she's evil. She's really evil. And her husband is evil as well. And they are determined to stop me. They are determined to prevent me from getting justice. Because my justice is their downfall. Right? So it's a battle between me and them. They don't want to give in, it would seem. So, yeah. So isn't it interesting how the word believe is so similar to the word Belial? Because they both start B-E-L-I. And the only difference between Belial and believe, well, was, you got al. What does al mean? A-L. That could be, it's like a code word for all, or Aaliyah, as in Aaliyah Dana Houghton, who was Mary, who's evil, whose ghost is stuck on the front of me. And then on the other word, believe, it's Eve. Who's Eve? Oh, right, isn't that... So when Adam got kicked out of the Garden of Eden with his wife, his woman, he thought, I know, I'll call her Eve, the mother of all living. You know, even though, you know, they don't, you know, she doesn't deserve that title at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, how does she deserve that title? You know what I mean? It's like, if you eat the forbidden fruit, you will certainly die. And then Adam's like, oh yeah, she's the mother of all living. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you're dead. I mean, that's the thing, right? Because spiritually dead. That's the thing. There's, you know, they when they got sent away, they were sent away spiritually dead. You know what I mean? Spiritually dead people. You know, it's interesting because Donald Trump, when he, there's a connection between Donald Trump and the year of the rooster. So if I search Donald year of rooster, what does it say? Trump chicken. It says here, all right, so Trump chicken. Donald Trump was associated with the year of the rooster, which began on January 28th, 2017, in the Chinese zodiac. During this time, a giant inflatable mascot called Trump Chicken became popular, resembling Trump and symbolizing the New Year celebrations in China. Okay, because obviously he won the election in late 2016, and so he literally just started his presidency, his first time as president. He'd started it. It would have been the beginning of 2017, wouldn't it? Yeah, because he would have been inaugurated. All that stuff. So, you know, so that was connected, and so this goes back, you know, I say my uncle-in-law, he's married to my aunt Christine, the Antichrist, I like to call her. You know, she's married to a guy called Donald Neal, and I say he was Abraham. And so, you know, when I go look on DuckDuckGo and I think, who was Abraxas? And I click on images and I see all these images of, you know, oh, some guy, he's got 2 arms, but his legs are snakes, and he's got a rooster's head. Yeah, he's a cockhead. Yeah, and you know, Donald Trump, who seems to have the most powerful job on planet Earth, oh yeah, he's got the same name as my uncle-in-law. And when he started his first term as president in 2017, it marked the year of the rooster in the Chinese zodiac. Is that a coincidence, do you think? You know, my uncle, he is a pervert. He's been a pervert. I grew up surrounded by him and his family because, you know, when I was a kid, I used to live near my aunt and uncle-in-law, Christine and Donald, and their sons. Their sons were about the same age as me. One was a year older than me and one was a year younger than me. So I spent a lot of time at their house, and Donald is a perverted man. I've always known him to be a perverted man. He always has been. He has evil intentions, and you know, when I figured out that he was Abraham, I mean, I still can't, you know, part of me still doesn't believe it. Like, part of me still can't even believe, like, okay, how the heck was he Abraham? How did this happen? But this is the thing, you know, people change. People who, you know, they thought they were saved, you know, once saved, always saved, I can do whatever I want now. You know, he doesn't even believe in God. He doesn't. He doesn't believe in God. He believes in science. He believes in what scientists, you know, he's an atheist. He's a fan of Christopher Hitchens. and Richard Dawkins. Those are his heroes. You know what I mean? He married a woman, Auntie Christine, who's a doctor. She would persecute Christians. That's what she would do. In fact, that's basically what she is doing. That's what they are doing through magic. And they talk badly about Christians. It's hard to believe that, Donald was Abraham and Christine was Sarah. The one who was the wife of Abraham thousands of years ago, as mentioned in the book of Genesis. When I was growing up, my mom was in a lesbian relationship with a woman called Jen. And when I went to, she's like, Grant, don't tell your friends at school, just say that she's my sister. And I'll be like, Jen's my mom's sister. Jen's my mom's sister. Jen's my mom's sister. Oh, Genesis. Yeah, you see how this goes? Apep, who, like I told you, is the snake from Egyptian mythology, the god of destruction. Well, his Greek name is Apophis, right? Apophis, Apophis. Pop. Well, pop is another way of saying, it could mean popular, and is a way of saying dad, right? So Apophis, Phis is another. My mom's name was Fiona, Fee, right? Apophis, 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 Apep, Am PeePee. Yeah. This is the thing, because in the book of Revelation, it talks about, and I'll read it for you, okay? Ruling with the iron scepter, right? Ruling with an iron scepter. So if I go to Revelation 12, yeah. What's the date today? Oh, it's the 6th of December. Yeah, so that's 12:6. Yeah, so okay, so Revelation 12. Yeah, because it talks about the dragon and the woman, and then it talks about the woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. And then we have, so what it talks about, where is it? Yeah, if I go back, it was before that. It says here, chapter 12, verse 5. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. Yeah, it's the iron rod, it's the iron scepter. People could call an iron scepter a penis. Do you know what I mean? That's obviously, because there's so much sex magic. Yeah. So, if you've watched my older videos, if you watched my other videos, well, you should understand. I've explained these things so many times. Yeah, I'm actually, I've got other plans today, so I'm thinking about, I've got other things I want to do. So I'm not going to sit here for another half an hour making this video, because I have to go. So what else did I want to say about this? Yeah, there was a video I posted. It was it was a guy, an Australian fisherman, and he got swallowed by a whale, and he survived. And the quote is, "I was inside a whale's mouth." Well, obviously, there's in in the Old Testament, there's the book of Jonah, and it talks about his story. So it's a very short book. You know, I mean, it's more like a page of writing, really. But anyways, you know, the story about Jonah is, you know, he got swallowed by the whale, and he survived. He was in the, well, it says that he was in the belly of a fish. It didn't say whale, it said fish. But obviously people have speculated and thought, well, it must have been a whale. Which is, you know, it's a fair enough speculation, I suppose. I mean, you know, I suppose it would be a good guess. But anyways, you know, he was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. You know, it's a significant number, isn't it? 3 days and 3 nights. And the thing is that my aunt and uncle, well, Christine and Donald, I call him my uncle, but he's my uncle. You know, he's married to my aunt. He's not blood related to me. He simply is married to my aunt, who is blood related to me, because she was my mum's sister, obviously. But you know, Christine and Donald, they live in South Wales, and their sons, with their families, they've got wives and kids. They live in South Wales. They live in Monmouthshire, or Monmouth. Monmouth. It's spelled Monmouth. Monmouth. It's been flooded a lot recently. You know, on my birthday, 14th of November, it got totally flooded. It was all over the news. You know, I tell them I'm God. They say they don't want to know. They don't care. And so their town gets flooded. And, you know, bad stuff will keep happening to them until they give me what I want. Yeah, but then they, you know, they don't believe in God. And they, in the world, they want to, what they're trying to do is they're trying to steal my throne and my authority. That's what they're doing. They're trying to stop me. They don't even know what they're doing. They work for demons. And they just go along with it. They hate me. They are opposed to me. They want to ruin me. They're like evil robots. That's what they are. They're basically, they behave like they're evil robots. So, And so, you know, I was inside a whale's mouth. Well, you know, I used to work as a van driver. I used to drive to Wales a lot. I've been to Wales. I've been to people, you know, their houses in Wales. I've been to my cousins' houses. I've been to various houses. I've been to at least 4 or 5 houses in Wales, you know, that are people in my extended family. You know, a lot of them have been in this house. Yeah. You know, what does it mean to wail? Well, this is another thing, right? Because I'm a smoker. They're not smokers. Well, maybe some of them smoke. They, you know, like my cousins, maybe they, you know, smoke a bit of ganja. You know, maybe they smoke the odd cigarette. You know, they like to keep it secret. But you know, I'm a smoker. I don't hide it, right? I've been smoking since I was 14 years old, 13, 14 years old. But you know, the thing about, you know, the thing is about whales. Well, to wail is to make a lot of noise. You know, if someone's crying, they're unhappy, they're moaning, wailing, you know, making a lot of noise. You know, that's wail. You know, that is the definition of whale or whales, right? You know, obviously whales are an animal, but you know, the country, the place, you know, Wales, you know, their flag is the flag of a red dragon. Yeah, and I'm a smoker. See, all the decisions they've made are all about fighting me with magic. That's the thing. They make all these decisions to, you know, they are opposed to me. They've always been opposed to me. And I keep telling them to stop it, and they won't stop. They keep doing it. You know, they don't want to stop. And this is the other thing as well, because Aaliyah didn't out, and her ghost is, we're in a 69 thing. She's upside down. Her butt's on my face, on my mouth, and her head's on my peepee. So, I was inside a whale's mouth. Yeah, I mean, I can't hear her, but then again, she is, what I mean? Like, maybe she is wailing. I don't hear her. So, yeah, anyway. Rock the boat. Skyboat? Yeah. Well, whatever, right? Rock the boat. Well, she went up in her plane, didn't she? And it came down, and that was that. Yeah. She didn't live. She died. Yeah. And so, obviously people talk about the all-seeing eye, which is, it comes from I guess it comes from the idea of it. I think it comes from Egypt. You could argue it comes from other places, but, the thing is that, well, because obviously, all, who does all, what does all, does that mean? Does that mean, is that someone who is, does that mean like there's one person that sees everything, like all seeing, or does it mean that everyone on planet Earth sees? I mean, that's the thing, right? In the book of Revelation, in the Bible, in the scriptures, it talks about when the second coming of Jesus Christ happens, everyone will see him. Yeah, everyone will see him. Do you understand? All seeing eye. Well, I am God. Yeah, I see everything. I see through all the lies. I know the truth. I am the truth. It's the world that reflects me. It's doing spell work to try to keep me stuck, or the world spies on me because it wants my energy. It wants to talk about me. It wants to hate me. It wants to pretend it's me and mimic me and do spells and cast spells and it's identity fraud. They're always trying to pretend that I don't exist while trying to be me. Yeah. I mean, there's also I didn't mention this, but there's I think it's a meteor. It's a meteor, or is it a comet? I can't remember. It's either a meteor or it's an asteroid. Maybe it's an asteroid. Yeah, asteroid called Apophis. Yeah, well, obviously, some guys at, I don't know, NASA or whoever did, they did, some astronomers would have, they talk about the asteroid called Apophis. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that talk about it, and articles all across the internet. It's not only YouTube, but I mean, my channel name on YouTube, I've changed it a couple of times, and one of my channel names, I said, I was God Apophis. because I know I'm connected with the story about Apophis, and yeah, I know I'm connected with all that. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only one God. There's me. There's no other God apart from me. I am God. There is no other God apart from me. People really struggle with that, don't they? Yeah, they really do. Um, hmm. So you think I've said enough? Well, yeah, perhaps I have. But I'll go back, I'll talk about, the Spice Girls, right? So, when I was a little kid and I got those 20 pink ring pulls off the top of the Pepsi cans, and, because I wanted to get the single, I wanted to get the song, right? And so, lying spirits, they're like, oh, so God's judgment, because 20 equals judgment in the tarot deck. So they're like, oh, so God's judgment is he wants to spice up his life and he wants to be single. Do you know what I mean? This is the crazy magic I have to deal with from lying spirits. So and that's the thing, spice. I like spicy food, but I don't like being, I don't want lying evil spirits spying on me. Do you know what I'm saying? Spice up your life. Yeah. I mean, this is why the world spies on me. Because it wants my life. It wants my destiny. And it wants me to live it wants me to live a bad life. Spirits that hate me, they want to see me suffer. They want to see me deprived of what is mine. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, it was my I'm back on the monster again. Yeah. One monster. Yeah, one-eyed monster? Whatever. Or is it one-ID monster? Anyway. I mean, this is the thing, because, Jesus is described as the fountain of living waters, okay? Well, what's a fountain? A fountain isn't water. A fountain is a physical object, isn't it? So what is, this is the thing, it's my penis. It's a physical object. It's the fountain. It's what the living waters comes out of. And let's not forget, semen, right? So one-eyed monster and semen. Yeah, PeePee See. How PeePee See sounds very similar to BBC, doesn't it? And that, the BBC, well, it has, various meanings. It could be British Broadcasting Company, it could be Big Black Cock, or, or it could be Big Back Cock, or it could be, in numbers, it's 223. Skull and Bones, the number of Skull and Bones, the secret society, Skull and Bones, is 322. And the thing is, well, Aaliyah Dana Houghton, she died on August 25th, 2001, which was only, days before, well, it was, a week or two before the attacks on 9/11, 2001. And people used to think, there were also kinds of conspiracy theories talking about how Skull and Bones was organized the 9/11 attacks. So, yeah. And this is the thing, because her ghost is upside down, and my pee-pee is in her mouth. Skull and Bones. So 322, and obviously her butt's on my face. 3 looks like a butt. And when she died, she was 22 years old. And this is the other thing, because B, like B, like to be, to be or not to be. Well, BB is two B's, isn't it? It's BB, and it's like, when you see two numbers like that, it's suggesting two. The number 2 is significant, and usually 2 is associated with the butt and the poo. BBC. Well, I guess I am the BBC, right? Because I am to be, right? I am BBC, right? BBC. I see you. Do you see me? Do you understand? Yes, it's complicated stuff. It really is. And so this is the thing, because in the Garden of Eden, so the serpent lied. Yeah, the serpent lied. Well, what does the serpent really mean? Because people talk about the penis being a snake or a serpent, right? Trouser snake is an example of, it's a name for penis. And obviously, well, lying in a bed is not the same as telling lies. Yeah? It's not the same thing. I already gave the example of, when, after Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit, they saw that they were naked, and they saw that they were naked, and they were ashamed, and they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. And the next thing that happens is God is like, where are you? Adam, where are you? After they covered themselves, right? Where are you? Not, are you wearing any clothes, Adam? It's, where are you? I can't find you. Where are you located? Why are you hiding from me? That's that kind of where. Well, this is the thing. This is how the English language has developed. English wasn't a language back in the Garden of Eden, was it? Do you know what I mean? Languages have developed. Lots of different languages. So why is it lie is such a confusing word? Because I have to lie down when I go to bed. I mean, I could sit in my bed and try to fall asleep sitting upright against the bedboard. I wouldn't find that very comfortable though. I wouldn't be very happy about that. I would have to lie down to feel happy. But then lying spirits will be like, oh, he's a liar. And they'll twist it and say, oh, no, but this is what it really means. You're telling lies, because look at you, you're lying in a bed. Yeah, the lying serpent, yeah. Or, obviously if a man has sex with a woman, oh, he's lying down with her. Yeah, because to lie down with is a way of saying to have sex with as well. Because it's implying, right? I mean, I guess, people could have sex standing up, but, it's easier to imply it by saying lying down, isn't it? Yeah. Anyways, what's the time here? Yeah. Well. Oh. Now I'll check. Should I tell them? Yeah, I put this T-shirt on. Can you see this? It's the North by Northwest. You can see there. It's North by Northwest. Cary Grant. I put this T-shirt on like 3 days ago. It was the night before the earthquake happened in the Northwest. Yeah, it got hit by a 3.3 earthquake, didn't it? Yeah. I wasn't going to mention it. I just thought I couldn't be bothered. But yeah. I've been wearing this. I've not been wearing this for 3 days straight. I've been wearing it because normally I just wear my dressing gown before I'm in bed, or I'm wearing. I was going to go out yesterday, but I didn't. Yeah. Anyways, I've been wearing this T-shirt for a couple of days. Yeah. Cary Grant. Well, my name's Grant, isn't it? And I'm off to go for a drive. So, yeah. Once I've had my shower and got dressed in another T-shirt. So that's the other thing as well, because obviously Pepsi is associated. It's a drink. It rivals Coca-Cola, right? Coke. Well, what's Coke? Right? What is Coke? It's interesting because usually the Pepsi can's blue, and the Coca-Cola can's red. So you got red and blue. And obviously, well, my biological dad, is called Charlie. That's right, Charlie. Cocaine, Charlie, yeah, Charlie, Coke. You see how that's all connected? Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, like I said about Pepsi, PPC, PEPC, Pepsi. Well, I'm sure my dad, Charlie's probably seen my penis when I was a little kid. I don't ever remember seeing his. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was, yeah. Well, I think I don't know, it's quite common for kids to see their parents naked when they're young kids. And obviously adults see their kids naked when they're kids. That's quite a normal thing these days. Yeah. Who wants to think about that, huh? Not me. But it is spell work. It's relevant. That's the thing. Perhaps it is relevant. Yeah, it probably is. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to think as well, because Abraham. So I've made all these connections with Abraham. He's evil. So what happened with Abraham? Yeah, I mean, obviously there was, he prayed to God about his, about the Sodom and Gomorrah. His nephew. He wanted his nephew Lot to be saved, and that's what happened, right? Lot got saved by the angels. They went in to get him, and they took him out, and his wife got turned to a pillar of salt. And then Lot went off to some cave somewhere and got his daughters got pregnant by him. Anyways, and so Lot was the nephew of Abraham. Well, this is the thing, because obviously Donald, who was Abraham, he's my uncle-in-law. So I'm his I'm his nephew-in-law, in that sense, right? Yeah, and obviously, nephew. Well, the first four letters of nephew are the same four letters of the word Nephilim. There's a strange little connection there, isn't there? Yeah. Well, my cousin is called Phil, so yeah, I've already explained that one before. Yeah. So that's the thing, because God said to Abraham, about how his descendants would be like the grains of sand on a seashore. And then you think, about the serpent. The serpent was, told, on thy belly you shall go, and you shall consume dust for all your days. Something like that. Well, I mean, sand and dust is... What's the difference? Do you know what I mean? I mean, sand and dust is there really that much difference? I don't think there is, really. I mean, it's both physical and material, isn't it? What colour's poo? What colour's sand? Yeah. Grains of sand, of course. So yeah, that's the connection, isn't it? Grain of sand. Well, what's a grain? Wheat is a grain, isn't it? Oats are a grain. Yeah. Sand and yeah. So that's, and obviously my name's Grant. Grain and Grant are quite similar words. They got, there's a lot of similar letters involved. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, when God said to Abraham, like, your descendants will be like the number, the grains of sand on a seashore, lots. Oh, that's the one, isn't it? Lots. Oh, that's it. Lots. Well, what was the nephew? Who was the nephew? I just think Donald, I've identified him, he was Abraham. I'm his nephew-in-law. Lot. Well, that's the thing, right? Lot. Lot was the nephew of Abraham. Yeah, so those descendants of Abraham, they belong to me because I'm good. See, I figure things out in real time. That's quite amazing, though, isn't it? So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reason why Abraham has been such a problem, well, it's because, the Israelites, well, that's the thing, Abraham was the father of the Hebrews, yeah? And that's the thing, Hebrews. I mean, it's the thing, okay, so, Abraham was the son of Shem, okay? So that's where the word Semite comes from. Semite or Semite. I'm Semite. I'm God. Do you know what I mean? Like, but Shemite. Okay, so you could say Shemite is she might. That's the thing. Abraham, he's married a woman called Christine, and he treats her like she's God, right? She's the authority figure. He pretends that he's like some manly man. He's like, he's a very mature man. He's got a big dong, and he thinks he's so fucking great, right? High testosterone levels, all that. Thinks he's the Don, right? Because that's his name. He thinks he's cool. He likes to think he's cool, but he has a wife, and she tells him what to do, and he does it. I mean, yeah, he argues with her a lot as well, but basically he thinks that she's the intelligent one and that he should listen to her, and that she should be in charge. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's the smart one. That's how he thinks. He wants to put her in charge. So what's, and obviously she's fat. She's a fat her, So, she might, yeah, fat her. Anyways, Abraham, he's, the Israelites, they always referred to Abraham as, like they're they would talk about themselves being descendants of Abraham. Abraham, and that's the thing, so what's the name of God? Father, Abba. So, and this is the thing, there's been a battle between me and Abraham because of that. And the other connection here is obviously, when Adam and Eve and the serpent were cast out of the garden of Eden. I'll read it from here. I'll read it from Genesis. Okay. So, what does it say here? So Genesis, Genesis chapter 3, verse 13. Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." So, the strike on the heel, the thing about the word Hebrews, there's an interesting word, right? Because bruise, if someone gets, if I hit myself really hard on the arm, I could bruise myself. Yeah, that would be a bruise. Hebrews, right? Bruise. It's a mark, isn't it? But also to brew, like someone can brew beer or brew, a magic spell. Yeah, someone could have a cauldron. A witch could have a cauldron. She could be brewing some kind of, potion. Do you know what I'm saying? Look, I'm God. I brew. I brew. I brew. I'm the Word. I'm good. And that's the thing, because Abraham, he's called the father of the Hebrews, isn't he? So he's considered the father of the Hebrews. And Donald is not my dad. Yeah, he's my uncle-in-law. He's married to my aunt, and my dad, my biological dad, he's never been a dad to me. He ran away when I was a kid. Don't talk to him, got nothing to do with him at all. I'm God. I mean, yes, I was a child in this lifetime, and when I was Jesus. But the fact is that because I come into the world through a woman's womb, whether it's with a man's sperm or not, it doesn't matter. It can be both ways. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a miraculous birth. It doesn't have to be, I mean, Mary, she gave birth when she was called the Virgin Mary because, it was called the Immaculate Conception. That was simply, it was done then as a sign, of holiness, of, this is an act of God. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't, I've lived in this life. I had a biological dad and I had a biological mum. It can be that way as well. It doesn't matter. I can do it whatever way I want to do it. Yeah? Anyway. It's getting late. And also, Abraham, he was also the dad of a guy called Ishmael. Ishmael. It's interesting, because that's the thing, right? Because Ish means kind of like, yeah, sort of. It's kind of like saying, yeah, he's sort of male. Yeah, he's almost like a man. He's kind of like a man. Maybe he's a bit feminine. He's Ishmael. Or maybe it means, or it means, I smell. I smell something funny. What's that smell? I don't know, but but that's, his name was Ishmael. That's another thing. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, because Muslims, they're not Christians, are they? Yeah, their religion is called Islam, and it's got nothing to do with Christianity, does it? No. Strange though we call it Islam. And what was the prophet's name? Moo. Does a lamb go moo? Or is it a cow or a bull that says moo? Yeah? It's strange though, isn't it? Muhammad. Anyways. But that's the thing. Muslims aren't saved people, yet they worship Abraham. Yeah, they worship Abraham because they want Abraham to be their God. Yeah, that's the thing. That would certainly be more convenient for them, wouldn't it? Yeah, they don't want to be judged by me. That's the thing. Oh, and of course, let's not forget about Coke. Yeah, Coke. Well, what I mentioned, cocaine and Charlie. Well, cock. Yeah, cock. What is Coke? Cock. Yeah. I mean, the word, it's a misspelling of cock. Penis. Yeah. I mean, I have a cock. I have a penis. So, what is Coca-Cola? What is Pepsi? PeePee See? Yeah, it's all willy magic. Yeah. That's my, the fountain of living waters, right? It's spell work. It's all spell work designed to steal from my fountain. That's what it is. It's all trying to use magic spells to acquire my power, my fountain of living waters, and put it in a can form and sell it to people on a shelf. Put it on a shelf in a shop and get you to buy it. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Get your Coca-Cola. Yeah. Willie. That's another thing as well. When my mum died, she said that I could. She wanted to give me. She wanted to leave the inheritance to me, so she decided that she was going to give me the money and the house, and her car, which I sold ages ago, and I got it. I traded that in, and I paid for a much more expensive car. A Jaguar F-Type R. Yeah, so my mom, she told me that she forced me to make a will. So if I died, then my cousins, Andrew and Philip, would get my money. They would inherit what is mine. Yeah, she forced me to do that. Otherwise, she was threatening me, basically saying that she didn't want to give me the inheritance unless I got that will done. And I did it because I thought, you know what, I'll just get it done, and then I can get the inheritance, and then I can cancel that will. And I tell my cousins, you ain't getting any of my inheritance. You get nothing from me. Nothing. That's what is mine, and it ain't yours. Willie. Yeah. What's your will? What is the will of God? Willie? I'm doing my father's will. Willie, 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 Willie. Willie Am. Prince Willie Am. The Prince of Wales. Yeah. My penis is William. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's Willie. That's what it is, right? And there are people who want to call themselves William. It's like, well, you ain't my Willie. They like to think they're my Willie, but they ain't. I mean, that's the thing. My dad, he's called Charlie. I mean, you could say his name is Cock, right? Because Charlie means Coke, and Coke can mean cock. A Apophis. Yeah. And what's that guy who he's called the reigning monarch? Yeah, Charles the Third. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Oh, it's almost 8 o'clock. Yeah, I gotta go. I'll go have my dinner. Yeah. So I'll leave it there. Shall I upload this? Okay. Well, I'll go now.